Okay, hello. Welcome to Talking with Khalil Anthony. Talking Shit with Khalil Anthony. I have a special guest today. His name is Marcel Vogel. How you doing, Marcel?
I'm pretty good.
That's good. Good to see you. Um, I was just listening to some of your songs to get myself ready. And then I remembered like this last weekend, my mom was like, you know, that Marcel Vogel, he's real funky. And I was like, yeah, he is.
I wanna meet your mom.
I would love that. We talked about you for a while because she loves Jesus. So she loved I Got Jesus. She was like, that boy's on the right path. I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite song of yours that you made?
It's probably I Got Jesus.
Mm.
Yeah. It's I suppose apart from that, the favorite song might always be In the Future, in a weird way. But I also consider all of my past work, it's always like stepping stones to gain experience, to get better with certain things, and it's always about trying something and emulating something as well. So I think they're all important. Like, for example, Dance the Blues Away. It's like a song kind of that I always wanted to make, and by having made that, it's also out of the way. It's like for me it's always really hard. It's like I have something that I need to make, and until I make it, it's really hard to go to the next level.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's so I guess I like them all because it's a big puzzle, and it's a big conundrum of things that I really have to make. And I guess for you it must be similar, that you gather experience when with every album, with every EP, with every 12, you explore another way. I mean, your range is from slow to fast to breaky to techno to what we do. So I think that you have a similar experience yourself, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it made me think of Brown Curls, right? Like when you first were like, hey, I want you to sing this song I wrote. And I was like, I don't sing songs that people write. I remember having that kind of like funky little attitude. And then when I did that experience, I was like, oh man, I should sing songs I don't write because it gives me more songs to sing, you know? So I get to learn through the process.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah.
Cool.
It was a beautiful experience, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you mind sharing with our audience how we met?
No, of course not. We met through Dead Man Monks. I don't even know how. So I know that you were working together before. So I guess I brought Ariel, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys were hanging at a spot somewhere with a bunch of people, and Scott asked me to come over, also because I wanted to see him, but also because I was looking for a singer. Did we talk before that, or did we only talk? Was that our first contact?
That was our first contact.
I don't think so, actually, because I think Scott told me, oh yeah, Khalil, I'm working with him, and maybe you should work with him too. And I I don't know. I don't know. It's really, I mean, it's like 3 years ago, and then it's like, because I was living in Berlin for like 3 months, 4 months.
Exactly.
Took a little holiday from Amsterdam, and yeah, I guess it was funny. I guess it was funny vibe also with Scott, with Ariel, and so many crazy people. And I think we were at your old place as well.
Yeah, like right across from this train stop. I think so. Basically, we had a show at Rosa Coletta. I did a Black History Month show, and I think you were gonna come, but it was kind of packed, so you guys didn't. And then we talked outside, went and got some alcohol, went back to the house, and we danced the blues away before the song came out. Like we danced, and I remember my friend Eclipse was there, and Ariel and Eclipse danced a lot in the front row. Anyway, I just remember that being an amazing moment to be like, oh well, yeah, let's collaborate. I'm down. And then we started to do that because you were in Berlin. So I remember I came to your house. I think we tried to do something there. Anyway.
You're shy. You're shy one.
I was very shy.
You work in the shadows.
Yeah. You were like, let's do it here. And I was like, this is not going to work. Yeah, right? Because I recorded everything else in my flash. In Berlin on my computer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing these interviews with producers who remix songs from my Junebug album to the new album called Scarab. And I sent you the song and you seemed very excited. I just wanted to hear, like, what did you... First and foremost, it's one of my favorite songs on the album. It makes me feel like... what I feel like is like somebody has a tambourine, somebody's hitting on a box. It's like this old timey, like, I don't know, it just makes me feel connected to some other past. I remember when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I just want to hear about your experience with it, because I don't think we ever talked about, what it was like for you.
I mean, first of all, I have to say it's already such a long time ago. I think what I definitely like about it anyway is that it also showed me that you grew and matured as a singer, because it was just so the vocal was so bang on, and so cannot even express it in any other way.
No, that's great.
And then it's, I guess it's how I often approach a remix. I start somewhere and I'm like, I have no ideas, and then I start changing sounds or adding drums, and then it's like, oh yeah, now I can see it. And I guess what I try to create with this kind of style is something, it's a certain sound that I connect to, but that I don't find a lot of things. So I guess it's almost like I'm making these for myself, because I have this vision of, it's like also a track like that, it's meant to be part of a DJ set. I mean, of course, that's where I come from. And it's meant to be layered with other songs. And what comes after that is meant to continue what's going on in this one. Probably the most intimate form of conversation you can have anyway. You have earplugs in, and because all your words are directly, they couldn't be closer to my brain.
That's fabulous.
It's like Andy Warhol says, the most intimate form of communication is via the telephone.
Yeah, that's true. Andy Warhol also said, this is something I repeat to myself all the time. You might have heard it before too, but it says, don't worry about what people think about your work, just keep making art, right? Like, people are going to critique it forever, but as long as you just keep making work, I think Yeah, it's something that always makes me feel good. I'm like, okay, just keep doing it. And speaking about new work, you have a a new son. You want to talk about your son a little bit?
My son. Oh, uh, what is hardly new. He's almost 2 now. Yeah, I mean, with the quarantine and all the DJs being grounded right now, my wife working from home, we spent the last 6 weeks together straight. And I mean, the weather's been really great, and we've gone to the parks and playgrounds, and I guess the most inspiring experience in itself, because I mean, we all know how it is to be a child ourselves, but we rarely have the experience of watching a person grow. And it's a little bit like being on the other side of the glass. And I mean, it's like literally being on the other side and experiencing. And it feels like I experienced my own childhood once again. And it's, yeah, I mean, we're extremely lucky. I mean, maybe all parents, obviously, most parents would say that their child is the most wonderful human being. But I have to chime in here and be like, yeah, it's true.
I love that. I love that. And you just mentioned, like, you know, obviously we're all in a quarantine at the moment. What have you been thinking about, like, what music is going to look like post, as far as, you know, what we do, perform out for people? What do you think it's going to look like after this is over?
I don't know. I mean, it will take a bit of time. I think it's going to go back to normal in a couple of years. I'm quite convinced. However, I suppose with the DJing and also with the music making, it's also for me not so much a job than something I do for myself and do anyway, and will always find a way to do it. I guess right now I don't think about it too much, because I'm on this permanent vacation, on this holiday with my family, and I mean, it really feels like a holiday. I think it's the best 6 weeks weather-wise that we've had as far as I can remember, really.
Oh, wow.
No, weather-wise, it's been brilliant. And yeah, spring, everything is blooming, everything is green. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope I can pick up where I left. I mean, it's also 10 years Lumberjacks in Hell this year.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, so I have a really good compilation coming. But of course, we had planned a lot of parties and gigs and anniversary things, and all of that is down the drain now. Yeah, it's as a touring DJ, it's a bizarre situation to be in, and it's hard to tell what to do next.
Right. Yeah, I thought I'd ask you to get some notes, because I mean, it's on the same over here. I'm like, well, I'm assuming there's going to be some new way to do things, and people like us usually create this newness. So what does that look like? So that's what I've been asking myself. You just touched on it a little bit. I was about to ask you, what's the next project you're working on? So you said something about a collaboration, or a compilation.
No, it's a compilation. It's 8 tracks. It's on Lumberjack. It's the 4th on Lumberjacks and the 5th in total. It's 8 tracks. Detroit Swindle, Ostinato, Vajit, myself, James Kurt, PBR Street Gang, and a couple of other things. So it's like a really strong comp, geared for the dance floor, geared for the DJs. And the two 12-inch compilations I did in the past, they always were really well received, and we're selling really well, and people, yeah, being really into it. So yeah, just continuing that. And yeah, 10 years of Lumberjacks. It's a bit of a milestone. It's a bit surprising to experiencing that, because you never, I don't know, you never think, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then it's gonna be 10 years, and then it's gonna be 20 years.
Right.
You think life will be always as chaotic as it was, and because you just start things and finish things, but I guess this lumberjack thing kept being interesting enough to just continue.
Wow. So I was gonna say that was gonna be my last question, but I just want to ask you real quick. What made you start the label? What was the? Do you remember like the thing that said, "Let me start my own label"?
It's based, or you can basically explain it with the quote from the late Mike Huckabee, who just passed. He said something really inspiring, that people do these things because they want to involved. And I mean, I've been DJing since I'm 16. I've been heavily interested in music before that, making music maybe for 15 years, or kind of organizing parties, and it's just another way, or at that point it was just another way to get involved, and didn't feel that I was a good enough musician to put out my music at that point and just be like, oh, I'm a musician and I work with other labels. So I thought, yeah, just start a label, and yeah, I think I have also quite a hand at that. Maybe same as organizing parties. Where it's also fun and satisfying to just bring stuff together and make it work and create something special that people value. Yeah, I just wanted to be part of the scene. I mean, I guess you always have people you look up to, you have music that inspires you, and you kind of emulate what inspires you and create your own.
I love that. Do you have any last words before we go?
Well, I mean, I'm so happy that we're still working together.
Me too, man.
So happy you came into my life and saved me with Brown Curls, where I was in dire straits. And that you came up with Dance the Blues Away and Your Star, and brought something to the table that was unexpected and beautiful, and that I'm can continue to be part of your growth process. And yeah, I guess with everything, it's like everything is a stepping stone, and as long as you have a clear vision, you always know where you're going, where we are going, and I guess it will be super interesting to see how it's gonna be now, how these songs are gonna be perceived and received, and also where we're gonna be in like 5 years, because the evolution is always gonna go on.
Yeah, I like I said, I feel like, you know, you can collaborate with a lot of people, but then when those collaborators become your friends, it's a whole nother world. And I feel like, especially like this year, I've been in Spain for a couple of months, and I remember when I first got here, we talked, and that conversation was just so eye-opening for me. And I was like, oh, right, Marcel is my dude. I like him. And yeah, just appreciate you the same way. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
This is Khalil Anthony with Watch your mouth. Talking shit with Khalil Anthony. Have a great day.
Bye.